There is an object that has been pulled from the ground across the former Roman Empire, from Britain to Hungary, from France to Germany, over 100 times. It appears in Roman archaeological sites with enough regularity that it is considered a characteristic artifact of the era. It is made of bronze, carefully and expensively cast, decorated with knobs and circular holes of varying sizes. It is clearly not accidental. It is clearly not crude. Every example shows the same deliberate, symmetrical design. 12 pentagonal faces forming a perfect geometric solid. It is called a Roman dodecahedron, and nobody, not a single historian, archaeologist, classicist, or materials scientist, has any verified idea what it was for. Not a theory that has been confirmed, not an explanation that the field has settled on. 116 examples recovered from across the Roman world, spanning several centuries of production. And the function of this object remains completely, stubbornly, embarrassingly unknown. No Roman text mentions it, no painting or mosaic depicts it, no inventory lists it, no grave inscription references it. It simply appears again and again in the archaeological record, beautifully made, clearly purposeful, and completely silent about its own meaning. This is its story. Or rather, this is the story of our failure to find its story, the object itself. Let's start with what we know, because what we know is precise and consistent, which makes the mystery deeper, not shallower. The Roman dodecahedron is a hollow bronze object, typically between 4 and 11 centimeters in diameter, roughly the size of a golf ball to a large orange. It has 12 flat faces, each one a regular pentagon. At the center of each pentagonal face is a circular hole, and the holes are not all the same size. On any given dodecahedron, the 12 holes vary in diameter, ranging from very small to relatively large in a graduated sequence. The edges where the faces meet are studded with small bronze knobs or balls, one at each of the 20 corners of the dodecahedron. The casting is consistently high quality. These are not crude objects hammered out cheaply. They required skilled metalworking next to the creation of a precise mold, the pouring of bronze, and careful finishing. They are not inexpensive to produce. Whoever made them and whoever used them considered them worth the investment. The distribution is geographically specific in a way that itself carries information. Almost all confirmed examples come from the northwestern provinces of the Roman Empire: Gaul, Germania, Britannia, the Rhineland, the Alpine regions. Almost none have been found in Italy, North Africa, Greece, or the Eastern Mediterranean. For an empire that spread Roman material culture from Scotland to Mesopotamia, this regional concentration is significant. Whatever these objects were for, it was a practice specific to the northwestern frontier, not something universal across the Roman world. Some have been found in what appear to be treasure hoards, buried with coins and other valuables, suggesting they were considered worth protecting. Some have been found in graves. Some appear in what were Roman administrative or military contexts. The contexts are varied enough to resist easy interpretation. They date primarily from the 2nd and 3rd centuries AD, the High and Late Imperial period. No clear precursor objects have been identified, and they seem to disappear from the record by late antiquity. They persist for roughly 2 centuries across a specific geographic region, and vanish. And in all that time, nobody thought to write down what they were for. The theories. The absence of any ancient explanation has not stopped modern people from generating explanations of their own. The dodecahedron has attracted more competing theories than almost any other Roman artifact, and the sheer number and variety of those theories is itself a measure of how completely the object resists interpretation. The most frequently proposed explanation is a military one, a range-finding instrument used by Roman artillery crews to calculate the distance to a target. The varying hole sizes in this theory correspond to known projectile sizes at known distances. A soldier would hold the dodecahedron up, sight through the hole that matched the projectile being used, and read off the range from the position of the target relative to the hole's edges. It is a plausible sounding theory. It has one significant problem. Mathematicians and military historians have modeled it, and it doesn't work. The geometry of the holes doesn't produce reliable range calculations. The variation in hole sizes doesn't correspond in any consistent way to standard Roman projectile diameters. And if it were a standard military instrument, you would expect to find it uniformly distributed across Roman military sites, not concentrated in civilian settlements in the northwestern provinces. Another theory proposes it as a surveying instrument, used to calculate angles or alignments in construction or land measurement. Again, plausible in principle. Again, the geometry, when actually modeled, doesn't produce the results a functional surveying tool would need to deliver. Roman surveyors had well-documented instruments, the groma and the chorobates, that we understand completely. The dodecahedron fits none of the patterns of those tools. A candle holder has been proposed. The holes size to hold candles of different diameters. Experiments show this works physically, but it seems extraordinary to produce an expensive, precisely cast bronze, geometric solid for the purpose of holding a candle, and the knobs on the corners make it an unstable base for a flame. A dice has been proposed, a weapon, a toy, a musical instrument, a tool for knitting or weaving. One recent and surprisingly popular theory, promoted by a crafting enthusiast who demonstrated that the holes can be used to produce a specific style of finger-knitted glove, holds that the dodecahedra are knitting gauges. It went briefly viral online. Professional archaeologists received it with polite skepticism. A religious or ritual object is perhaps the most intellectually honest proposal, because it accommodates the absence of written evidence rather than fighting against it. Objects used in private religious practice, in mystery cult initiation, in divination, in personal ritual, are exactly the kinds of objects that ancient writers had no reason to document, and that practitioners had strong reasons to keep undocumented. The regional concentration in the northwestern provinces could reflect a specific religious tradition of the Gaulish or Germanic populations under Roman rule, a pre-Roman practice that survived Romanization in the frontier regions while dying out in more thoroughly assimilated areas. But this too is speculation. We have no cult context to place it in. No altar, no temple, no associated ritual objects that illuminate its meaning. Every theory subjected to rigorous scrutiny either fails mechanically or cannot be confirmed. Why the silence? The strangest part of this mystery isn't the object itself, it's the silence around it. Romans documented almost everything: architecture, farming tools, military equipment, household objects. Entire encyclopedias of Roman knowledge still survive today, and yet the dodecahedron, found over 100 times across the empire, appears nowhere. No text mentions it, no artwork depicts it, no explanation survives. There are a few possible reasons. Maybe the references were simply lost. Most Roman writing disappeared long ago, surviving only in fragments and copied manuscripts. Or maybe the object was so ordinary that nobody felt the need to explain it. Ancient writers didn't describe how to use a spoon or a cup. To Romans, the dodecahedron may have been equally obvious. A third possibility is secrecy. Mystery religions in the Roman world often hid their rituals from outsiders. If the object had a ritual purpose, the silence may have been intentional. None of these explanations can be proven, but all of them fit the evidence, what it tells us. The Roman dodecahedron reveals something uncomfortable about history. We like to think the ancient world is mostly understood, that with enough archaeology and surviving texts, we can reconstruct the past clearly. But this object proves otherwise. Over 100 carefully crafted examples have been discovered across the Roman Empire. And still, we have no confirmed idea what they were for. No explanation, no surviving instructions, no context that solves the mystery. And if something this widespread could vanish from human understanding completely, how many other parts of ancient life vanished with it? The dodecahedron is more than an unsolved mystery. It's a reminder that huge pieces of the past are simply gone, lost so completely that they may never be recovered. Right now, in a field somewhere in the former Roman provinces of Gaul or Germania, there is almost certainly another dodecahedron waiting to be found. A metal detectorist will find it. An archaeologist will excavate it. It will be cleaned, cataloged, and added to the growing list of confirmed examples. And it will tell us nothing we don't already know. Because the information we need is not in the object. It was never in the object. It was in the minds of the people who made it and used it. And those minds have been gone for 16 centuries and they left no forwarding address. 116 bronze dodecahedra, 200 years of production, half a continent of distribution, zero explanation. Some mysteries don't resolve. Some questions that the past raises, it simply refuses to answer. And sometimes the most honest thing a historian can say is that we don't know. That the object is real, the craftsmanship is real, the deliberate purpose is real, and the meaning is gone. The Romans knew what it was for. We don't, and we may never.